And back then, really wasn't nothing coming out of them churches. And churches won't grow. Those were the building funds and all that. And I think a lot of people would see like their grandmothers and their mothers go and give all this money to pastor, and all they see is the pastor driving around with the Cadillac and
but
whatever.
You also see them kids eating. Like them churches back then fed the neighborhood. You know, it was different. You don't think so? Back when
not all
no, but see, I'm from
like
Deep South.
maybe on Sunday, but Monday through Saturday, a lot of them kids was hungry, bro.
Nah, man, where I'm from, Mount Savannah, them kids, them churches used to give out food on the regular, like every day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday.
And
they was giving it out.
And you probably don't have the same skepticism in those communities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in other communities.
I grew up in a cult too. So I grew up in the House of Prayer for All People. You know, we have Bishop. I grew up in the church that they called the Bishop Daddy. Daddy Madison, Daddy Bailey, Daddy Grace.
Crazy.
Yeah, I grew up in that.
It was a cult.
You know what I'm saying? But I lived in the neighborhood of Baptist churches and shit like that. So all the kids would go and get food for school, after school, back to school programs and shit like that. That wasn't my church that was doing it though. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the church I grew up in was called the United House of Prayer for All People. And, you know, very gifted church. Like we got like, you know, I don't know if you heard of a band called the Tigers. They from Charlotte, North Carolina with Zeb Harrison. He plays the trombone and stuff like that. I grew up in that environment. Right. They came from the House of Prayer. My cousin BB that plays the horn around the city.
We all know BB?
Yeah, that's my cousin. That's my brother's cousin. Crazy. Like we both from Georgia.
That's my guy.
Yeah, so you know, you see how he played the trombone?
Yeah.
We all grew up like that. Our whole family. My granddaddy, my dad, like our whole family grew up. I played baritone, trombone, trumpet. I played with BB growing up. Right. We grew up playing trombone. I started playing trombone at 5 years old.
That's
and
crazy.
It was given to me. Before I never knew how to read music, but I went to FAMU. You know what I'm saying? I went to all different type of band programs growing up. Never read music. We could never play outside the church. What BB doing 10 years ago, it would be outrageous.
Right.
But now that he stepped out, man, like the House of Prayer, you could never leave. It was like a cult-like situation. So I have a big skepticism over big churches and these mega churches where you have pastors.
Right. See, but I mean, there's people that have in their communities, there's small churches in their communities that have had that skepticism. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't really like. My mom go there. Now that I'm of a certain age and I'm outside, I don't really deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because this of the pastor. I know this.
Well, my pastor was a cross-dresser.
That was your pastor? That was your pastor?
I went to Morning Star.
What a freaky nigga, boy.
Wow. He was a cross-dresser and he got caught downtown trying to...
Selling booty, selling that bussy.
Some butt.
He was selling bussy.
And we still was going to have his back. Look, yeah. And
how?
Which was crazy. But my mom was dating this guy. He had the paper and had his mugshot on it with his lipstick and everything. He was saying, he slammed the paper down and was like, "This is an abomination." And I remember like it was yesterday. I was like, well, damn, this is bad.
You can't come back from that.
You can't.